Welcome. Been on holiday, feeling refreshed. In this video I'm doing some maintenance on my Harrison mill. Did a lot of service work on this when I first got it. You probably saw the videos, but I'd never taken this beam off. It was quite rusty underneath, needed doing. Set up a crane, took it off, cleaned it up, put it back on, which you'll see. But I also adjusted the backlash on the X-axis table feed. Hope you enjoy it. Now, a bit of an announcement. I normally put out a video once a week. Have been doing that for quite a few years now. But my wife's got to go in for an operation. It's quite a major operation. It's not life-threatening. It should be fairly routine, but it's still quite major. And she'll need to recover for about 6 to 8 weeks. Now, my wife's quite independent. If I don't keep an eye on her, she does things she's not supposed to do. So all I'm saying really is, she's in for the operation tomorrow. She should be out by Friday, so it's, what are we on, Sunday now? So she should be out by Friday at the end of the week. But then I'll need to be in the house really to make sure she doesn't do stuff she's not supposed to do. So what I'm saying is, I might not be able to produce a weekly video once she comes out of hospital. Don't know yet, just have to see how that works out, won't I? Just saying, that's all. And at the end of this video, I'll just throw in a few scenes from our holiday, which was on the Yorkshire coast. Nice. People say, where do you go on holiday? You know, Lanzarote or the States or wherever. No, Yorkshire coast. Oh, and you'll see from the video, we had a fantastic time. The weather was absolutely brilliant after months and months of horrible grey, cloudy rain, etc. When I was renovating or just repairing this milling machine, there was one job I never got round to doing, and that was to take this beam off and clean up the dovetails. I can see there's a bit of rust on the top. I think there was a bit of water in there. It moves okay, but it just needs to come off and be cleaned up. And I've never had the engine hoist in here at the right time. I've been busy with other jobs, but now I'm going to take this head off and use the engine hoist to take this beam off, clean it up, put it back on. Would you know it, the builders are working next door, you might hear them. This head is held on by 4 big cap heads. Now I ought to get myself some ball end Imperial Allen keys to make it easier to get these out, but anyway, and then once those are out, I'll get it supported, unscrew the drawbar, it's self-extracting, whack it, and then separate the taper from the spindle. The bottom two you can get the key on this way, but these two are in a pocket. It's quite awkward really. Before we get too far with this, I'll just put this cradle under. You probably saw me make this if you follow the channel. And you just bring the table up and this head sits nicely just in there and it supports it. So we've got the bottom 2 cap heads out, and from there I'll just take out these top 2. Oh, and before we get too far with that, let's break the taper, because otherwise I'll be hitting the head and it'll be trying to move forward, I think, if I remember correctly, that is. Did I say it is self-extracting? We'll see, won't we? When we got this mill, the taper was pretty seized on. It took a lot of force to get this apart. And it is gonna now. Oh heck. Hang on, might have to. Hiya. Well, it went, but there was one heck of a bang. The long screws go in the top 2 holes, but they're not long by much, look. We can separate this face by turning the drawbar to extract it. Right, that's the maximum now, in fact. And this way, all I have to do is move the table forward and drop it. I'll see you in about 150 turns. Oh, yes, it is clear. Let's see. Yeah, okay, right. So one thing you've got to watch for, these 2 dogs here, they drive the front of this spindle, as you can imagine, but the way the setup is, it's very easy to think you've got it right, but those are not engaged. And then this face won't quite meet this face, but it seems okay, but it's not okay. So it takes a lot of work, a lot of patience to get those dogs into here, into this side of the spindle here, the corresponding lugs, gaps, whatever the word, and be certain you've got it right. We should do one of those while I'm doing this, what should we talk about things. Although I can't think of anything. Oh, there is a subject. Do you remember when I was working on the workshop annex, we talked very briefly the question, would the UK government put tariffs on Chinese electric cars? And they've just given a quite big signal to say no, they're not going to do it. What have I done? Oh, just crashed the gearbox into my table. Never mind, it's only wood, nothing broken. This is 35 kilos, so I'm actually taking my gloves off for this because it's a very hot day and the gloves could sweat. Look at this. And also, I could put that table over there behind me, turn around and drop this on, but that's a guaranteed way of putting your back out if you're carrying a very heavy load. So while I'm talking, while I try and get these gloves off, go away. So I'm just going to come out across and plonk it on a cupboard just over there, hopefully injury free. Right, okay, here goes. Oh, I've just realised that was resting against the microphone, so you'll hear horrible noises. Right, so there's not too much oil out of here. If you watch the series, when I was working on this soon after I bought it, I think I had about 11 parts to that series, and one of them was trying to get this head, vertical milling head, not leaking oil, and I pretty much achieved it, I think, in the end. Right, 2 pinch bolts to undo, 3/4, 19mm to some people. Give that a tap if I can find the mallet, which I can't. You know, when I bought and collected this, it was on a farm, and the seller used a tractor to put it on our trailer and put a couple of strops around here, there and there, and we didn't realise until later that actually these nuts weren't tight here and this was a bit loose, so we were lucky. Well, the splayed legs of the engine hoist hit the base, so I can't get any further forward than that. That's on 1/4 ton, which is its furthest extension. I could go a bit further. I don't want to lift it like that. I don't want to go further than that, so I need to extend this somehow. Sorry, hello. Need to extend this somehow. I don't know what this weighs. I mean, make a rough guess. Less than 100 pounds, I think. So less than, say, 50 kilos, maybe 35, a bit like that head. Piece of wood, strap it on, extend it, another strap down from here. Should get us in the right place, I think. I'm struggling to get everything in shot here, but I'll do my best. Is it? Seems to be all right. Yeah, it is, isn't it? Now, that's it. And when I get this back, I'll pull the table across and drop it on, hopefully. Ooh! Hey! Right, now can I get the table in the right place? Yes, I can. God, it's such a good table. Right. Now I put some big screws in this wood so that hopefully the straps can't fall forward. some screws here and some screws there. Good. Nothing broken yet. In fact, it's not that bad, but it does need cleaning up a lot. Yuck. Sometimes when you've got bright sunshine coming through the door, you're better to shut the door. You lose some of the light, but then you don't have the problem with the too much contrast. Ah. Yuck. Bit horrible. I think we can improve that a fair bit. I've got some spotlights to go in here that might improve things a bit. Anyway, you can see how mucky it is. It's mainly just dirty, horrible oil. Probably what I put on it when I first got it. Out of brake cleaner. This beam wasn't too bad at all, actually. It was just muck. Shined up really nicely. Just a light rub with something abrasive. Remember to get it on the right way around as well. So I think where you are, yeah, that's the back. What's going on? That's it. Too high? Too low? What's going on? It's nowhere near as easy as I think it should be. That's it. Let that down. It's well oiled up, so I hope it doesn't slide off. Tighten it up slightly. It's a really hot day today. There. Good. Just set that back slightly and it's done. Now I'm going to leave the vertical head off because I would like to do some horizontal milling. I just never seem to get round to it. It would be nice to. I also need to make a stub arbor sometime. Another thing on the list. I thought I found a really good source of stub arbors, about £35. I thought that was really good for something new. But the company that was selling them had a source in China and then somehow the source dried up. Some small family, I think, were making them and then they had a falling out and so on and so on. So that disappeared, that opportunity. Good. Okay, well, we're done. That little job is finished. I think this is turning into a mill maintenance video. There's too much backlash on this table here. It's 0.4 of a mil. Now, it was 0.5 and I've just adjusted this up. Now it's 0.4. Now this lead screw is held in here and at the motor end. So that's what keeps it within the table. And then of course it acts on the nut and the nut is under here. Now I made a new nut and I made a split nut so I could adjust the backlash. Now when I put it together, I didn't worry too much about how it was set. I thought it would let it bed in, but now it's been in long enough, and I'm going to take the nuts block out under here, take it all out, and then just check how much lash there is on the nut and then reset that. So there's just 2 screws holding this assembly in place, this one and the one on the other side. If I pull out this plunger all the way, this table should come to me. I've tightened this ring about 1/8 of a turn, and that's taken out all of the lash. Now that only works because I made a split nut. Refer to previous videos. When I got this milling machine and I was servicing it, I noticed that the casting here was broken and it came off as a separate piece. When I put it back together, I Loctited it in place. Now somebody with a keen eye commented that it appeared to be raised slightly. Now if it was, it would be wearing the other side of this V. So whilst we've got this apart, I'm going to check it. So we'll need to slide the table back. And to do that, we need to take this end off. Now I put it on with Hermetite, blue Hermetite, so that the coolant wouldn't leak out. So I'll need to reseal it when I've done. When I say leak out, I mean leak off the end of the table. Ooh. Wasn't prepared for that. The table lead screw is quite slender. Right, I'm going to have to turn this to bring the nut carrier much further this way, but I don't want to take it right off because it's with that nut being split, it's quite hard to get back on. With a bit of thought, I should have realised I can't get this table far enough this way without this coming off the lead screw, and I don't want to do that because I know how difficult it's going to be to get that back on with the split nut. So instead, I'm going to have to disconnect the lead screw at the motor end, which means knocking out a roll pin, and then this can come out and this can go back. I've knocked the roll pin through far enough, so hopefully now I can just tap the table and this will come off. Extract itself, that's the idea. Let's see. Well, that ain't going to work. There's not enough force. Oh, fiddle. There we are, that's it. Hopefully the next owner will thank me. That's what we're talking about here. So it's raised here, but I think it's all right there. I'll get something to check it with. I think it was because some of the Loctite squeezed out and it gave the impression that this was proud. I don't think it is. This doesn't matter, this level here. It's only the machine surface of the V here. And I can feel, although this is a bit higher here, this is lower. I can feel a ridge there. But I think it was because when I put it on, you could see the Loctite squeezing out and it made it look as if this was sticking out more this way. Okay, now reverse process. I may need to make sure I get this socketed in at the other end and get it lined up. Sight through the hole and get that lined up, which isn't easy. Lock table. Then tap the end of the lead screw to tap it home, hopefully. How's that looking? It's going. The nut assembly is clamped back on now. This feels tight enough. No play is what I mean. So we'll just put this on as a complete unit. engage that spline, engage the pins, locating pins. I've checked it was clean already. I don't think it needs any more blue hematite on it. I believe with the earlier ones, if you took the nut off there, this assembly would kind of fall apart. But on these later ones, it's a complete unit on its own. May be wrong, but that's what I think somebody said. That's looking about 0.2, which I think is quite acceptable. If I lock the table again, see what we've got. About 0.2. I'm quite happy with that. It was 0.5 when I started. I could probably get a bit more somewhere, but it's not worth it. We'll see how that wears. Let's set that. Yeah, it's no more than, it's less, it's about 0.15. I think that's fine. Nylock nut goes on the end. Not over tight. That feels a bit tight maybe. Because if you tighten this up too much, it binds up in here somehow. Spring loaded. So that's locked in place. That's free spinning. I guess it's when it's on automatic traverse, you don't want this winding into your overall pocket, do you? Oh yeah, that's a lot. What's the right word? Tighter. Wrong word. Feels a lot better. Positive. That's the word I'm looking for. Positive. So I'll oil it up and it'll be done. Perhaps not very exciting, but I think it'll stay in adjustment for a long time now. Anyway, I can sense there's going to be an odd jobs and stickers video coming up again soon. I've just added an odd job to the list today. What do you think? Oh, buy cheap, buy twice. Hopefully I can fix it. Robin Hood's Bay, North Yorkshire. Small village by the sea.
Why don't we do planes? But we can actually do a stamp.
Started in the 1500s sometime, I think.
Do this. So we don't show each other it then. Because it still goes into each other.
I'm not quite sure who's practicing the saxophone, but somewhere just here they are. I think they need a bit more practice. Yeah, maybe. Would you believe it? Red hot at Robin Hood's Bay. The sun's almost too much today. Peacock babies, but they're running away. Oh, there they go. So we're just walking back from Ravenscar now to Robin Hood's Bay.